This is the QTV Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM. I am Jacqueline Coley. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. President Adama Barrow has announced plans to construct over 700 kilometers of roads across the country. He made the announcement at a joint meeting of Upper Badibu and Sabah Sanjal in Farafenni. During his visit to the $740 million Sija Oil Cement factory, currently under construction and expected to produce up to 100,000 bags of cement per day once operational, the president praised the country's growing industrial drive, expressing delight at the project's progress and commending Jar Oil's investments across various sectors. The Grand Mufti of Mauritania, Ahmad Ould Mourabit, is on a median visit to the Gambia aimed at strengthening bilateral ties between the Gambia and Mauritania. In international news, as the world experiences unprecedented climate shift, humanity's future hangs in the balance. Scientists warn that only a coordinated global response can curb the damage. In sports news, sporting facilities in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for the 6th Islamic Solidarity Games are of the highest quality and will leave a lasting legacy in the city. These are the multi-sports facilities in Boulevard City area, Olympic Complex Swimming and Malas Combat Hall. Those were the headlines, and other news in detail. Do stay. Thank you for staying. President Barrow has announced plans to construct over 700 kilometers of roads across the country. He made the announcement at a joint meeting of Upper Badibu and Sabah Sanjal in Farafenni on Tuesday in response to requests from community representatives for enhanced road infrastructure. And Swane Sonyase reports.
The president has, since assuming office in 2017, championed the development of major roads across the country, notably the Hakalang Road, the Battle-Herding OIC Road, and several others in the Upper River region. This progress has inspired communities in Upper Badibu and Sabah Sanjal, whose representatives during Tuesday's Meet the People's Tour meeting in Farafenni appealed for the government's swift intervention in addressing their development needs. Lamin Sedikan, governor of the North Bank region, Alhaji Mustafa Diba, chief of Upper Badibu, Alhaji Babu Sise, National Assembly member for Sabah Sanjal, and Papa Ture, chairman of the Kerawan Area Council, all highlighted the various development projects brought to the region by the Barrow administration. However, they also called for additional road infrastructure and youth empowerment initiatives.
We are happy to welcome you to our region. Your government has built a lot of development projects here. However, given your record as an action-oriented leader, we are hopeful you will continue to address our development challenges.
Lack of roads in certain communities remain a challenge here. I am aware of your interventions in this region. And as a region, we are very appreciative of your efforts to make life easier for everyone. However, we need more roads.
I am aware that this is not a political event. It is the Constitution that provides this platform for us to share our needs with you. I want to join others in soliciting the government intervention. Access road remain a challenge in our communities.
This mini stadium here needs upgrading. The use of this area badly need a standard recreational facility, and so I want to share their message with you. Also, the lack of roads remains a major problem for us.
In response, President Barrow made a surprise announcement revealing his government's plan to construct an additional 700 kilometers of roads in the coming months.
Gambia of today is vastly different from yesterday, especially in terms of infrastructure and development. Roads are important because no country can develop without the necessary infrastructure. In addition to the ongoing road construction projects across the country, my government intends to build an additional 700 kilometers of road by next year. This has already been finalized and work will commence soon.
While assuring them of his government's readiness to address their development needs, he reaffirmed his commitment to building a Gambia where access to quality services across all sectors becomes a reality for all. Answane Sonyasi for KTV News.
During his visit to the $740 million Sija Oil cement factory, currently under construction and expected to produce up to 100,000 bags of cement per day once operational, the president praised the country's growing industrial drive, expressing delight at the project's progress and commending Sija Oil's investments across various sectors, particularly agriculture, describing them as an important contribution to national development. Antoine Sonyasi again.
During his visit to the $740 million Sija Oil cement factory, currently under construction and expected to produce up to 100,000 bags of cement per day once operational, the president praised the country's growing industrial drive, expressing delight at the project's progress and commending Sija Oil's investments across various sectors, particularly agriculture, describing them as an important contribution to national development. His remarks were echoed by the Minister of Agriculture, Demba Sabali, who also highlighted Sija Oil's continued investment in the sector and reaffirmed the government's commitment to supporting such initiatives.
But we will always be there to support farmers, to support Gambians for that matter, because Gambians should take the lead. I always say this, it's unfortunate, but most of the businesses, others are leading, Gambians are following. We want now Gambians to lead. Definitely. And others follow.
And it has started.
Thank you.
We will do further.
Blessing from His Excellency, we'll hand them over to your farm at no cost and with no condition. This will be part of government support to private sector rice growers in your drive to supplement government's aim of rice self-sufficiency by 2030. So the equipments are ready, the technical team has inspected them, the inventory is taken, and you should be able to collect them as soon as we have the request from you, even tomorrow. PS and team are already notified, so drop your request with PS and he will direct you where you can collect the 4 reversible plows from Sapo.
The factory is opened to reduce cement imports and create around 300 jobs. The company is also expanding into agribusiness, deploying industrial tractors with plans to grow onions, potatoes, maize and rice to boost local food production and support animal feed supply chains. These efforts align with government policies on industrialization and import substitution. Mamadou Haidara is the general manager of Sija Oil Group.
As you can see, we have already installed the machines. We have also, the whole structural work is finished. We're just doing some finishing touches. For example, now what we are doing is trying to get the conveyor belts, which we are expecting by the 15th of this month. Once we get those conveyor belts, we'll start installing them. And then we can start our test runs. The silos at the back, you see the concrete structure coming up. That's where we're going to put the silos, the cement silos. But even without those silos getting ready, we can still do direct feeding.
Meanwhile, the president also inspected the nearly completed office complex of Trans-Gambia Bridge Company Limited, a joint venture between the Gambian government and Africa 50 to manage the Senegambia Bridge. The company aims to improve bridge operations, logistics and long-term sustainability. The visits highlight his administration's focus on expanding local industries, creating jobs and strengthening infrastructure with strategic projects expected to boost domestic production, transport efficiency and service delivery across key sectors, including healthcare. Answane Sonyase for KTV News.
The Grand Mufti of Mauritania, Ahmed Al Morabit, is on a maiden visit to the Gambia aimed at strengthening bilateral ties between the Gambia and Mauritania. As part of his engagements, the Mufti today paid a courtesy visit to the Supreme Islamic Council. Alusise reports.
Mufti Ahmed Al Morabit is accompanied by a high-powered delegation, including the Gambia's ambassador to Mauritania, Sheikh Umar Faye. He was welcomed at the Supreme Islamic Council by President Sheikh Essa Dabo, Islamic scholars and imams. Ambassador Faye said the Mufti's visit reflects the deep and historic bonds between Banjul and Nouakchott, especially in Islamic scholarship, education and cultural cooperation.
So the man's visit is also linked with coming to the Gambia to reassure the Gambians that we've been together for centuries and Mauritania and the Gambia will continue to live in peace. It precedes governments. It's not about governments, it's about the peoples of Mauritania and Gambia for centuries. that our people have benefited from them. They also came here mutually, organized businesses. We live in peace with them, and we're families. And he said, I have to visit the Gambia. Because President Adama Barrow is the head of OIC. He's also been decorated as the Rais Salam, the President of Peace. I want to visit your country. I've seen your people with dignity and knowledge. And he said, I have got a lot of nationalities with me in Mauritania. But he said, Gambia is number one.
Imam Usman Jah, a respected Islamic scholar and Imam of Taqwa Mosque, welcomed the visit by the Mufti as historic. He said the Mufti's message has been centered on the importance of unity and togetherness.
I would like to congratulate our Republic of the Gambia, for being blessed with having this great scholar visiting the Gambia, meeting ulamas, imams, and authorities in the Dawah of Islam, especially meeting head of Supreme Islamic Council and its members and the Mosque Committee and the Executive Committee, and also leading Muslims in prayers in Masjid Taqwa, and also conducting conferences in the Talinding Islamic School, and meeting scholars in the Supreme Islamic Council. It's a great blessed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give the Gambia. We learn a lot and we benefited a lot from this visit. Listening to his sermon yesterday in Masjid Taqwa, he touched very sensitive issues that Muslims have different opinions in, and giving such sermon will unite Islamic scholars in the Gambia, will unite their opinion on such issues.
The Mufti also met Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow and also led Jummah prayer at the Taqwa Mosque on Friday. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Sisi.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have more national and sports news stories. Do stay tuned.
It's time to celebrate women who lead, innovate, inspire, and empower. Join us for the GWCC Women in Business Forum and Awards Ceremony. Prestigious evening, proudly organized by the Gambia Women's Chamber of Commerce, GWCC, honoring resilience, excellence, and leadership in business. The theme for this year is For All Women and Girls, Rights, Equality, and Empowerment. On that day, GWCC will give awards in the following categories: Women in STEM of the Year, Women Entrepreneur of the Year, Regional Women Agropreneur of the Year, Women in the Catering of the Year, Women in Green Business of the Year, and Lifetime Achievement Award. Be inspired, celebrate success, support women in business. Tables and tickets are available for sales. Linger table, $50,000. Garmi table, $40,000. Taru, $30,000. Jigéen Jambar individual tickets, $2,000. Mark the date, Friday, 28 November 2025. Time, 7 p.m. onwards. Venue, Sir Dauda Kairaba Jawara Conference Center. For bookings and information, contact 2031-080-319-2823, 662-3282. At GWCC, women-owned businesses are our priority. This advertisement is proudly sponsored by EU.
Browse with us. QCell brings you a promo like never before. Get unlimited internet for just $25. Yes! Recharge $25 and enjoy the convenience of free internet from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. every day with our Browse with Us promo. With this amazing offer, you can browse, stream, and download all your favorite movies for free. So why wait? Recharge $25 today and enjoy free internet only with QCell between 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. For more information, call customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Bus, we innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. Now, for the first time, a Gambian youth addressed the opening plenary of COP30 in Belém, Brazil. Khadija Cisse, lead coordinator of El Coya the Gambia, represented the world's children and youth under the banner of Yongo, the official youth constituency of the UNFCCC. She delivered a powerful message of urgency and hope, calling on leaders to take all action to safeguard the planet for future generations. Julian attended the event and she now reports.
The statement reminded world leaders that these talks are not just about today's politics, but about the legacy they leave behind. From the Congo Basin to the Amazon, the youth thanked indigenous peoples for safeguarding nature and vowed to stand with them in the fight for climate justice. Here is Khadija Cisse, lead coordinator of El Coya de Gambia, who represented the world's children and youth under the banner of Yongo.
This Conference of Parties is an implementation COP, so it's really actually important coming from a least developed country, ensuring that there is a doubling of adaptation financing, and also how can we move from pledges to climate action. So for the first time in the history of the Gambia also, we represented at the global stage, representing billions of young people voices who are not here today to shape the future of our climate space.
Ms. Cisse says the Gambia has been classified among the 100 most vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. At COP30, they urged for the tripling of adaptation financing as a priority for the most vulnerable and for more accessible climate funding for young people and local communities.
As COP30 is an implementation COP, we anticipate it to be successful at the end of it. However, negotiations are going on different thematic agenda items. I have been following adaptation negotiations ranging from the global goal on adaptation, the NAFs, and also the adaptation committee, ensuring that there is an actual doubling of adaptation financing, which has been a priority for the Gambia as well.
The group also demanded a just transition package rooted in human rights, fair labor and intergenerational equity, and urged the creation of a nature work program to make nature protection a core part of climate plans. In a strong call for transparency, they call for a conflict of interest policy within the UN climate process, challenging the presence of fossil fuel lobbyists at the negotiations. Science, they said, must guide every decision, with carbon budgets and adaptation limits built directly into the final texts. And in a powerful close, the youth appeal for an immediate global ceasefire, declaring that there can be no peace without justice and no climate justice without human rights.
From the heart of the Amazon, the world's youth have made their message clear. Climate justice must come with action, accountability, and peace. At COP30, they are not just asking to be heard, they are demanding to be part of the solution. Reporting for QTV News from Belém, Brazil, I am Julde Njai.
Up next is international news. As the world experiences unprecedented climate shifts, humanity's future hangs in the balance. Scientists warn that only a coordinated global response can curb the damage. From Beijing, Usman Jatha reports on a crisis that transcends borders.
Planet Earth is changing at an unprecedented pace. Rising temperatures, extreme weather, raging wildfires, and devastating floods all signal a climate system under immense stress. What was once a distant worry is now an everyday reality. The question is no longer if climate change will impact us, but how soon and how severely. At the COP30 Climate Summit, United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres called for urgent and decisive action.
Science now tells us that the temporary overshoot between the 1.5 limit, starting at the latest in the early 2030s, is inevitable. We need a paradigm shift to limit this overshoot's magnitude and duration and quickly drive it down.
At its core, climate change refers to long-term shifts in weather patterns and temperatures. Scientists warn that human activities from burning fossil fuels to deforestation have accelerated warming, pushing the planet towards dangerous levels. Yet, not everyone shares this view. US President Donald Trump has repeatedly questioned both the urgency and the scientific consensus on climate change.
Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong.
The evidence is clear. 2023 was the hottest year on record, 1.45 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Wildfires in California, floods in Pakistan, and droughts in East Africa highlight the crisis. Dr. Yanzhen Gang, a professor of environmental economics at Renmin University in China, says the fight against climate change demands global solidarity and shared responsibility.
Everybody lives on this planet and we cannot escape. And migrating to Mars is so costly for most people. I hope that countries can think that it's only one planet. We should minimize our disagreement and think more about our planet and have a win-win solution.
The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change warns that the world could reach 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming between 2030 and 2050, a tipping point that may cause irreversible damage to ecosystems and communities. While countries like China are investing heavily in renewable energy and cutting emissions, experts stress that progress must accelerate. Many scientists believe the coming decade will determine humanity's fate. Only through collective action by governments, industries, and individuals can the world hope to secure a safe and sustainable future for generations to come. Osman Jata, QTV News, Beijing, China.
Up next is sports news. Sporting facilities in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for the 6th Islamic Solidarity Games are of the highest quality and will leave a lasting legacy in the city. These are the multi-sports facility in Boulevard City area, Olympic Complex, Swimming and Malas Combat Hall. Our sports reporter Mamoudou Gajaga visited some of these facilities and he now reports.
Welcome to the beautiful city of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, host of the Islamic Games 2025, and it's only day 4 in the competition. It looks beautiful from and within and around the city. In this iconic sports venue, Riyadh is ready to host 57 countries for the Islamic Games. Boulevard City Arena is one of the main sporting facilities, hosting multiple sporting disciplines such as volleyball, table tennis, weightlifting, and many other sports. This indoor facility hosted Chad vs Bahrain volleyball game. The magnificent edifice looks beautiful in all aspects, from the floor of the court, sitting area for spectators, and giant screens around the complex. Another iconic sporting facility is the Malas Combat Hall, the venue for most of the combat sports, such as boxing, karate, and judo. Gambian karate athlete Emmanuel Mendy experienced his first high-level international competition at this venue. The Olympic Complex swimming pool has lived up to its name with the magnificence of its 50-meter distance pool, which was deployed for the 50-meter freestyle, butterfly, breaststroke, and other forms of swimming. More than 3,000 athletes and officials from 57 countries will continue to experience these magnificent sporting facilities at least for another week. These are the sort of facilities that will inspire competitors to give their best. All eyes will be on the Prince Faisal bin Fahad Stadium, which will host the athletics events from the 17th to the 20th of November 2025. Mamoudou Gajaga, QTV News, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
That's all we have time for in this news bulletin. Join us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the weekend review with Mahmoud Mboj and Aded Rami. Thanks for watching and bye.